Hey Zwifters, are you really testing your FTP the right way? Welcome to a brand new Vive La Velo video. Today, we're diving deep into the best and most accurate FTP tests for indoor cycling. Our host, Paul, put 3 different FTP test methods to the ultimate challenge on Zwift. Which one gives you the most reliable results? If you're serious about maximizing your indoor training, you don't want to miss this. Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. What is FTP? FTP stands for Functional Threshold Power, and it's one of the most important numbers in cycling performance. Simply put, it's the maximum average power you can sustain for 60 minutes before fatigue takes over. Think of it as your personal cycling benchmark. The higher your FTP, the stronger and more efficient you are on the bike. Ever wondered what makes a good FTP? Well, it all depends on your experience level and goals. If you're a beginner, a solid target is around 2 watts per kilogram of body weight. For an amateur cyclist, you're looking at 3 watts per kilogram, a great level to build from. Are you riding competitively? Then aiming for 4 watts per kilogram puts you in the game. And finally, for the pros, it's all about reaching that elite range of 5 to 6 watts per kilogram or more. There are 3 popular ways to test your FTP on Zwift, and each one suits a different type of rider. The 20-minute FTP test. This classic method has you riding as hard as possible for 20 minutes. Your FTP is calculated as 95% of your average power during the test. It's tough, but it's one of the most accurate options. The ramp test. Looking for something quicker? The ramp test increases your power gradually every minute until failure. Your FTP is estimated as 75% of your highest 1-minute power. Perfect for those who prefer shorter efforts. The grade for climbers. Try this 3.5-kilometer climb with a steady 8.6% average gradient. Your FTP is roughly 85 to 88% of your average power during the climb. Ideal if you want to test in a real-world climbing scenario. Each method has its pros and cons. So, which one will you try first? Let's break them down further. Well, Paul took on the challenge and rode all 3 tests to give you the inside scoop. The first test is the grade. Here I'm taking on the 3.5-kilometer climb as fast as I can, with an average gradient of 8.6%. At the time, I didn't know the exact FTP calculation for this test, so I used 300 watts as my target power to push through the climb. It's all about holding steady and strong for the full effort. So, how did I do? I managed to hold an average of 300 watts for 13 minutes and 40 seconds. Based on this, my estimated FTP for the grade test came out to 266 watts. Not bad, but slightly lower than other tests. This climb was a real grind, but it's a great way to measure your steady power output in a real-world scenario. Now let's move on to the next test. Now let's move on to the ramp test, the test that just keeps getting harder until you can't turn the pedals anymore. At first, everything felt controlled. As the power increased, I focused on keeping a smooth cadence and staying efficient. But as I hit 360 watts, I could feel the burn setting in. My cadence started to slow slightly, but I was still holding on. Then came 380 watts, and that's where things got really tough. My cadence dropped below 60. My legs felt like lead, and I entered the spiral of death. That moment when every pedal stroke feels impossible, and you're just trying to survive for a few more seconds. And then, it was over. So, what does that mean for my FTP? Let's break down the numbers. For me, that final full minute was at 366 watts, meaning my estimated FTP from this test is 275 watts. That's a pretty solid result. But how does it compare to another well-known FTP test? Stay tuned, because we've got one more challenge coming up. And now, the final and most well-known FTP test, the 20-minute challenge. On January 1st, 2025, I went all in for 20 minutes, holding on for dear life, knowing that every second counted. This test is simple but brutal. Ride as hard as you possibly can for 20 minutes, and then take 95% of your average power to estimate your FTP. The goal is to pace it just right. Too hard at the start, and you'll explode. Too easy, and you'll leave watts on the table. After completing all 3 tests, let's break down the results and see which one was the most accurate. The grade, September 2024. I climbed at 300 watts for 1340 minutes, resulting in an FTP estimate of 266 watts. A bit on the lower side. 20-minute test. Ramp test, November 2024. I hit 328 watts for my final minute, giving me an estimated FTP of 277 watts. January 2025. I held 283 watts for 20 minutes, which calculated to an FTP of 269 watts, slightly lower than the ramp test, but still close. So, which test was the most accurate? Each test provided a slightly different result, but that's completely normal. An FTP test is always a snapshot of your performance on that specific day. It depends on factors like fatigue, nutrition, and even motivation. That's why no single test is perfect. However, what's important is that all 3 tests gave me a solid estimate of my power and fitness level. The ramp test is a quick and efficient option. The 20-minute test remains a reliable classic. The grade test offers a real-world climbing effort. No matter which one you choose, each of these tests will give you a good insight into your current power and help guide your training. The key is to stay consistent, track your progress, and keep pushing your limits. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more Zwift tips, training insights, and cycling content. Got questions or your own FTP test experiences? Drop a comment below. Let's keep improving together. See you in the next one.